yes. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next Should You Summon. Alright, I know, you deserve some explanation. Poor Kong doesn't get off the hook that easily, so here we go with the usual high-level overviews using these 4 criteria to help you decide whether this banner is worth your hard-earned vouchers and crystals. This is a rate-up banner featuring 2 new characters from Langrisser Re Incarnation Tensei, Lucretia and Emperor Autokrato IV, running from August 26th to September 8th. Since it's not a Destiny banner, you have a 40% chance of getting each on-banner character, with the remaining unlucky 20% reserved for any off-banner hero in the regular summoning pool. We might as well get started with the star of the show, Lucretia. Do you like Lana? She is like a little baby. Watch this. Lucretia's talent gives her plus damage dealt the more HP she has. She starts the battle with a summoned puppet buddy, and if the puppet is within 3 spaces of her when she's killed, she revives, once per battle. The puppet passively increases Lucretia's unit range by 2, and also has skills that let it reduce an ally's cooldowns and swap positions with Lucretia before acting again. Do you like AoE? She has Black Hole, Heaven's Sanction, one of those 6-tile line AoEs, and a new signature skill that blasts enemies within 4 spaces of either her or her puppet and afflicts them with heal block and buff block. Do you like single target? She has Dark Reaper, Cleanse, and her 3C skill, which does 1.6 times damage to an enemy, is effective versus Holy, and gives them undispellable minus 30% to all stats for 2 turns. Oh, her 3C also passively restores her hit points and her puppet's hit points by 20% every turn. Of course, what power-crept Lana would be complete without sorceresses with a plus 40% attack boost from bonds? So she's an extended range, self-reviving, teleporting, cooldown-reducing, self-healing, debuffing, flexible AoE and single-target magical DPS. Have fun! She's a member of Empire's Honor, buffed by Bernhardt, Leon, Lance, and Rosenseal, Langrisser Reincarnation, buffed by Ares and Hilda, and Princess Alliance, buffed by Luna, Shelfaniel, and Christiane. Oh, meta factions. For bonds, she unlocks the attack bond for her bannermate Autokrato IV, and for her own bonds she needs Licorice for her defensive bond and Otto for her attack bond. For content, in PvE, she's on faction for Leviar and Valkyrie in the Eternal Temple, and she's going to be a strong new meta unit against Needhog, particularly alongside Christiane when she comes out, and Sleipnir in Ancient Beckoning. Much like the Light of Genesis, you'll probably be able to use her for pretty much any purpose in PvE. Just set her up the way you need her and she's good to go. You're probably starting to see a pattern emerge here, but for PvP, she's basically one of the most broken units to be released in a while. Range and mobility are king, and she has those. She can take pot shots at the enemies and then get ported back to safety by her puppet. She can blanket the enemy team with debuffing AoEs if that's your team's strategy, and if she gets banned, you have Light of Genesis and Kyura waiting in the wings. What a big meanie. For availability, even though she's brand new, we did get to see far enough into the future to know that she's coming back in the new year on another raid-up banner alongside Ares. So no Destiny banner for her anytime soon. Next up we have Autokrato IV, and he's basically Freaky Bernhardt. Instead of projecting a debuffing aura, all of his own stats get a boost when he enters combat. All enemies within 3 blocks deal less damage depending on how many spaces they moved before combat, so enemies charging in from afar to attack his friends, and his tank, are less effective. His 3C skill is a disruptive 6-range, 3-line AoE that scrambles enemy positions and makes it so they can only move in straight lines for a turn. Importantly, this is a teleport, not a displacement, so Hilda won't stop it. Speaking of teleports, he also has a single target bash that does 1.5 times damage and teleports the victim back 3 spaces as long as the attack wasn't guarded. His probable 1-cost skill of choice is Taunt, which afflicts every enemy he damages, including with his AoEs, with 2 turns of fixed damage. The only way to reduce this fixed damage is to move. The fewer spaces you move, the more damage you take. Just another way to screw around with people's positioning plans. He also has Sword Dance, Shield Bash, Strong Arm, Hegemony, a bunch of Bernhardt stuff. He's a member of Empire's Honor, buffed by Bernhardt, Leon, Lance, and Rosenseal, and Langrisser Reincarnation, buffed by Ares and Hilda. For bonds, he unlocks the attack bond for bannermate Lucretia, and for his own bonds he needs Ares for his defensive bond and Lucretia for his attack bond. For content in PvE, he's on faction against Valkyrie in the Eternal Temple and Sleipnir in Ancient Beckoning, both fights where he won't be particularly dominant. On the PvP side, faction-specific diehards will no doubt find an interesting use for him, but he's not currently really a top pick. His broadest intended application is probably as an anti-single target rush unit, both because he can disrupt their movement from far away, although not really as far away as most good single target rushers, and because he reduces incoming damage from enemies charging in from a distance. Maybe later when the AoE meta dies down, probably a solid sidebox option. For availability, again, even though he's brand new, we know from the Chinese server that he's slated to slide into a Destiny banner alongside Maya and Nomi. That means if you happen to pull Lucretia here and you're on a budget, instead of continuing to try to get him, you could hold off for a Destiny version in a few months. Unless you don't have Maya or Nomi. Then it's dodgy. So here's the quick and dirty. We have Lucretia, who's a long-range, self-reviving, teleporting, cooldown-reducing, self-healing, debuffing, flexible AoE and single-target magical DPS. She unlocks the attack bond for Autokrato IV, and she's a top-tier option for Needhogg and Sleipnir. We have Autokrato IV, who's a physical DPS with a disruptive AoE scramble, and he unlocks the attack bond for Lucretia. Now, by extremely popular demand, the Notes for Noobs section is back. If you're a newer player with a newer account, or you just don't mind a verdict-style summary to help you digest this info, should you summon these characters? Lucretia, it should be obvious by now, is a great overall unit. If there's something you need done, she probably does it or contributes to it in some way or another. Summon for her. Autokrato IV is an otherwise underwhelming unit who may have some niche value in PvP, but his immediate value is in unlocking Lucretia's important attack bond. So summon him too. Now if you can, but on his upcoming Destiny banner if it's more economical and you're not in a rush. Finally, just my usual reminder about upcoming banners. Next week we should be getting a Raid Up banner featuring Illustrial and the Sage of the Trees. The week after that is a pretty good Meteor Strike Destiny banner featuring Vincent, Zerida, and Claret. There's another double barrel week after that, with a Lambda, Gizaroff, and Sigma Destiny banner, and the reliable old Elwyn, Leon, and Bernhardt Destiny banner. The next major update will be on September 23rd, and that'll introduce two new original characters to the game, Mew and Epsilon. We've seen them in the story mode already, but that's when they'll become summonable. Alright, that's it for this episode, for real this time. I hope you found this video and these summaries helpful enough to warrant a little thumbs up. I'm going to assume in advance that many of you are already planning to try to get Lucretia, and some of you may have been saving up already, so let me know in the comments what kind of summoning luck you had. And if you're skipping this banner for some reason, then let me know in the comments as well. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next Should You Summon. Extra special thanks to our Langrisser tier channel members for generously supporting the channel directly. Levitt, Derek Gunderson, Kyle Greer-Brown, William Householder, Kate Soon, and Jared Portela. Couldn't do it without you.